Good morning, welcome to Wednesday. Today's maths, we are doing the same as yesterday, okay? So we are just doing a little bit more practicing with reading and writing decimals as fractions. So you can write the skill and write continued at the end. Okay, and the date is the 10th of February. I think the snow is finally melting, okay, which is a real shame because I had so much fun. I don't know if you saw it, but I actually put a video of me on a snow scooter on the snow chat on Discord. I know Olivia's in it because Olivia laughed at it. I also laughed a lot, so it's okay. So, arithmetic today. You have got your 6 times tables, you have got silver challenge, which is sequencing, and gold challenge, which is multiplying fractions by whole numbers. Do you remember how to do that? What do we need to do? Okay, we're just going to multiply the numerator by the whole number. Okay, then don't forget to simplify if you can. Okay, super job. Have a go at that. Come back when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so here are your answers. You can see with the gold challenge, I have simplified the fractions for you again. So if you've got either of the answers correct, then give yourself a tick. Super. Okay, so what number is represented below? What is this number? Okay, we can see the number is 1.34. But what does the 1 represent? Okay, so the 1 represents 1 whole. What does the 3 represent? Okay, so the 3 represents tenths, so the 4 represents hundredths. So we've got 1.34, 1 whole, 3 tenths, 4 hundredths. Is it possible to represent that number on this grid? We've got 1.34. Think back to yesterday's work. Think about what 1.34 is as a fraction. Can we represent it on this grid? The answer is no. Because 1.34 tells us we've got 1 whole, 3 tenths and 4 ones. Can we represent it now? Okay, yep, we can. Because this is our whole. Because we've got 1.34 is 134 over 100. Okay, it's our fraction, so we can represent it like this. So this is our whole, we've got 100. Okay, then we've got 34 pieces shaded here. How else could I represent this fraction? Could I represent it as a mixed number? Because I've got the decimal, 1.34, and I know the fraction is 134 over 100. So what would that be as a mixed fraction? How many hundreds go into 134? Well, we can see with this image that it's 1. How many hundredths are left over? This is 100 by, this is 10 times 10, this square, so there's 100 pieces. Okay, so it's going to be 1 and 34 hundredths. Okay, have a go at this one. Which fraction is represented below? Is it 1 and 5 hundredths, 50 hundredths, or 1 and 50 hundredths? Okay, have a think about that. Perhaps you might want to put your thumbs up, thumbs down, or hands up for each of those answers. Okay, but we know that we've got 1 whole, which is this one, and we've got 50 out of 100. So we have got half of this one. So it's 1 and 50 hundredths. If it was 1 and 5 hundredths, there'd only be 5 pieces coloured. And then 50 hundredths is just this one. It's missing the whole number. Which decimal is represented below? Okay, so think carefully about the decimals that we did yesterday when we were converting them to and from fractions. Okay, so we've got 1 whole here. So if you think back to our place value grid, okay, we had ones, tenths and hundredths. where did the decimal point go? So we've got 1 whole and 27 parts. So we've got 2/10 and 7/100. This here tells us we've got 12 wholes and 7/10. This tells us we've got 127 wholes. This tells us we've got 1 whole and 27 parts. So the answer is A. True or false? The arrow is pointing to 4 and 26/100. Bit tricky this one, isn't it? Oh, I just said that word. It's a little bit difficult, this one. So we have got 4.2 and 4.3. So let's count to get to 4.3. So we've got 4.2, this is going to be 4.21, 4.22, 4.23, 4.24, 4.25, 4.26. Is 4.26 the same as 4 and 26/100? Yes, it is. It's equivalent. Okay, so there are 4 ones, 2/10 and 6/100. So the number is 4.26. Okay, so this 4 here tells us we've got 4 wholes, like this fraction, and the 26 tells us we've got 26 pieces out of 100. Okay, let's try another one. So the arrow is pointing to 3.02. True or false? Okay, so we've got 3.2 and 3.3. So the answer is false, because this number here is the same as 3.20, not 3.02. Okay, so it's really, really careful. You're looking at your place value and seeing where the 0 should go. Okay, this is not the same as this. This is 2/10. This is 0/10. This is 2/100. This is 0/100. Makes a big difference. Okay, true or false? The arrow is pointing to 150 hundredths. What's 150 hundredths as a decimal? See if you can think about that. So we've got 1, and then we've got 2. What's in between? Okay, so it's actually true, because if we were to count 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, the arrow is pointed to 1.5, which is the same as 150 hundredths. It's 1 and 50 hundredths, which is also the same as what? Can that be simplified anymore? It's the same as 1.5, because this 5 tells us it's a half, 1.5. Okay, so we've got 150 over 100. So that is true. Oh, I've already answered your question for you. So what can you simplify this to? I've already asked. Okay, so this time, can you find the numbers the arrows point to? Write them as a decimal, an improper fraction, and a mixed number. Okay, so they're there for you. You can draw these in your books, okay? When you're drawing them, just make sure that you have got the right amount of squares between your numbers and your arrows are going in the correct places. Okay, so pause the video now, have a go at doing that. So you're just going to write, so for the first one, your decimal equals improper fraction equals mixed number, but you're going to write those numbers. Okay, so pause the video, take your time and come back when you're ready to move on. Okay, so the answers then. So we have got for the first one, 1.3, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and it's the same as 130 over 100, which is the same as 1 and 30 hundredths. You can, of course, simplify that, okay, to 1 and 3/10, but I'm not expecting you to simplify these ones at the moment. If you do, then it's a bonus point. Okay, number 2, 2.56. Okay, so this time it's just one decimal place. This one's using 2, it's using tenths and hundredths. So 2.5, 2.51, 2.52, 53, 54, 55, 56. So it's 2 and 5 sixths. 2.56 is 256 over 100, which is 2 wholes and 56 hundredths, because we know our number is bigger than 2.5 but smaller than 2.6. Okay, the next one, 3.8. It's got 3.81, 3.82. And then lastly, what did you get for the last one? Try to challenge you a little bit here. Okay, this one is 5. Okay, so when we're writing it as a decimal, we actually don't even need that 5.0. It can just be 5 equals 500 over 100, which means 500 divided by 100 equals 5. Okay, so well done if you managed that. Okay, have a go at matching the decimal number to the equivalent expanded fraction. So remembering that this is our ones, this is our tenths, which is represented with a fraction with a 10 as its denominator, and then we've got our hundredths, which have got 100 as a denominator. So can you match those? Okay, so 4.46, we know we've got 4 wholes, which they've all got. We're going to add 4 tenths. There's only one with 4 tenths, and then it's got 6 hundredths. The next one, it's got 4 wholes, which they both have. They've both got 6 tenths, but we need one that's got 4 hundredths. So it's going to be there, which means the last one, 4.66, is going to be here. Okay, so it's just showing you it as a fraction, but it's expanded. It's showing you how we've got those tenths and hundredths. Okay, so just like this one, we've got our ones, which is this 4 and this 4. We've got our tenths, which represent the tenths down here, and then our hundredths, which go on our far right column. Okay, so use the example to help you convert these decimals to fractions. Okay, so at the bottom down here, you can see that we've got 4.32, which is our decimal. So we're going to change it to a fraction. So 4.32 as a fraction is going to be 4 and 32 hundredths. Now we can expand that and say we've got 4, add 3 tenths, add 2 hundredths. Okay, pause the video whilst you write those ones, or just have a discussion about it, have a look, and then come back to me when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so 2.09 is going to be 2 and 9 hundredths, not 90 hundredths. Okay, so 2 and 9 hundredths equals 2 plus 9 hundredths, because we haven't got any tenths. Okay, our tenths column is 0. Then we've got 6.8, which is going to be 6 and 80 hundredths. Okay, because this is our tenths, which is 6 plus 8 tenths, and we haven't got any hundredths. Okay, now let's do the same thing, but we're going to do it the other way around. We're going to convert the fractions to decimals. Okay, so here are your fractions. So again, there's an example down the bottom. So if our fraction is 4 and 32 hundredths, it's going to be 4.32, and in expanded form it's going to be 4 plus 3 tenths plus 2 hundredths. Remember, when we're doing our hundredths, okay, it's 2 spaces after the decimal. The tenths is just 1. Again, pause the video, have a go at those, and come back for the answers. Okay, so 4 and 2 tenths is the same as 4.2, and it's 4 plus 0.2. Okay, because it's just got tenths. We haven't got hundredths. Okay, then we've got 5 and 62 hundredths is the same as 5.62, which is 5 plus 6 tenths and 2 hundredths. Okay, so this table is on the resources for you. You don't have to print it, you can just write it out, that's absolutely fine. Have a go at seeing if you can represent these. Okay, if you're in school you might want to use the counters. If you're not in school you can draw the counters. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. I will put a picture of the counters, well there is a picture of the counters on the resource as well, so you can see what colours they are, which will help you because these aren't the colours we use in school. Okay, so you're going to write it as a decimal. You're going to write it in decimal expanded form like you've just done. You're going to write it as a fraction, as an expanded fraction, and then in words. Okay, so have a go at doing that. Just thinking about it, it might actually be better for you to draw it in your book rather than print it anyway. Just thinking about the space you've got here to write the words. But you could also do that bit separately in your book. It's up to you. Pause the video, take your time, think carefully about this one, okay, and use the place value grid to help you if you need it. Okay, final thought for today. Can you spot the odd one out? Okay, you might want to have a go at working each of these out. You might be able to see straight away which one is the odd one out. Okay, pause the video, come back when you're ready. Okay, so the odd one out is actually B. All the others are equivalent to 9.27 or 9 and 27 hundredths. So this is 9 and 27 hundredths, this is the same, this is the same. This is 9 plus 9 hundredths. Because the denominator is the same, we can add these fractions. So 9 and 9 hundredths, which isn't the same. It's the odd one out. So excellent work today, guys. You are doing amazingly this week with your maths, and I am so proud of you all. Have a lovely day. Hope you enjoy PE this afternoon, and I shall see you again in the morning. Bye.